More and more I've been learning how to look at the different seasons with a fresh perspective. Come join me as I learn how to embrace the slow winter season on the farm. I used to be in a rush to get through one season and get started on the next one. Probably Instagram and all the other social media platforms out there really didn't help that urge to want to just fly through the seasons. I'm always feeling like I haven't learned as much as I could have, and I wish I could go back. And anyways, regret is a real thing. The Lord's helping me with that. But as I get older, the idea of rushing through anything really doesn't have the same appeal as when I was younger. I know I'm not the only one that when I was little I dreamed about all the things that I would have and the experiences that I would have as an adult. Things like driving or getting a job or having a home, getting married. Well, a lot of those things we have and experience now. But unfortunately, with the busyness of life and the stressful things within our homes as well as the things outside our homes, they can cause us to take for granted all the things that we had hoped for or prayed for when we were younger. Thankfully, the Lord is patient because I need things to be explained to me in the most simplest form and the most basic form. I guess that's why I really appreciate going back to basics and trying to simplify things here in our home. But He has been teaching me that if we aren't careful, the busyness of life can really prevent us from experiencing the full blessings that He has waiting for us. We recently had an epic snowstorm blow through our area, and we enjoyed 6 to 8 inches of snow. The locals said that it was the most snow that they had seen, and these are people who grew up in this area. Our family was just so excited. We didn't even care that we were snowed in, that we couldn't drive anywhere. We didn't have anything on our schedule. Pretty much a lot of the main stores and even church was just kind of closed down because the roads were really icy. My husband didn't have work that week, so that was like perfect timing. And we were just able to slow down and enjoy the snow together. I really like having the supplies to make things from scratch. I don't do that with everything, but something like homemade Thieves, it's really easy to do. There are only like 5 ingredients. I kind of add a little extra by adding some Castile soap in there sometimes. Basically, you use clove bud essential oil, lemon essential oil, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. You can find lots of different recipes out there. I just used mountain rose herbs because when we first moved to the farm, that's where I was buying our essential oils. While I was making the homemade Thieves, I was reminded how far our kitchen has come since we moved in over 8 years ago. It wasn't in our budget to do a full upgrade. We lived with the dingy yellow walls and trim for years until one day my husband was out of town and I decided to use leftover beadboard that my dad used on another project when he was visiting and a can of primer to freshen up the space. What a difference just those 2 things made. And when my husband came home, it was a nice little surprise. That was probably, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago, but I knew that I spend about 85%, if not more, in this kitchen. And now it's just nice and clean and fresh. But there's definitely things that we need to fix. There are some cabinets that don't have cabinet doors, and there's a drawer that broke, so there's no drawer. The floor is really wonky where the nails, it has like these, I forget what they're called. They're cut nails or something, and they poke out and they literally will draw blood, and our socks always get holes in them. So there are a lot of different things. There's some water damage on the countertop, and I think it's just Formica. So there are some things that we can upgrade along the way, but in the meantime, I'm very pleased with the way that it looks now and how it feels and how it functions for our family. Along with the homemade Thieves, it was time to also culture some more homemade yogurt. This time I found out, again, since we couldn't leave the farm, I was finding these things out and I was learning as I was going, which was really fun. But I found out that we didn't have any more yogurt. So the kids forgot that I needed a certain amount of yogurt to be able to culture the next batch. And I thought, uh-oh, we can't go to the grocery store. We like to have our yogurt and some extra probiotics in our diet. What am I gonna do? And I thought, well, we have sour cream, will that work? So I did a quick search online and sure enough, it will work. And the kids actually prefer it better than the regular yogurt because it's less tart. It almost has a sweet taste to it. You don't even really need honey on it. It's thicker. And so I think they really liked that it was thicker and it had less whey in it. If you're new to homemade yogurt making, I do have a blog post and I can link that in the description box below. And if you want to try the sour cream in your homemade yogurt, I just basically substituted the yogurt for the sour cream. So I believe it was like 4 tablespoons for a gallon of milk. But like I mentioned before, I'm not an expert. I didn't learn all the things just overnight. I think that it really started when I was taking a Titus 2 Bible study class in a friend's home in upstate New York. She lived in this historic stone home. They had a really pretty garden and everything was very old, and she had a lot of antiques, and she baked from scratch. She made a lot of delicious meals from scratch. She used to be a teacher and then she stayed home and homeschooled her children. And she's actually the one that challenged me to pray about homeschooling our own children. So she really made an impression on me. And I remember thinking that she really blessed me and all the women that took her class. There were probably over 200, maybe even now more than that. Maybe it's upward to 500, I don't know. I remember thinking one day, I wonder if I'll be able to do that. And here I am now, and I'm not able to invite you to our home, but I really feel like the Lord is using this platform, my blog as well as YouTube, to maybe do the same thing that she did for me. And that doesn't mean that this is just for young moms or young wives. This is for any woman who wants to grow in her walk with the Lord. During that time in upstate New York, that was really when I started to shift my mind towards more natural and more basic. And each year and each month I would learn something new, and I just kept growing my skills. And again, now I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not an expert in any of this, but I know what works for our family, and hopefully that will plant enough seeds in your lives that you will want to go a little more natural, take a little bit more time during a certain season and not rush through things. Hopefully you'll find encouragement knowing that over time God will help us with shifting our mindset. With every change that we make and every lesson that we learn, we grow that much closer to the Lord and how He wants us to live our lives. And so I have grown to love the simplicity of the lessons learned in Titus 2. As Christian women, we're supposed to learn how to be reverent in the way that we live and how to teach what is good. And as older women, we're supposed to teach younger women how to be sober-minded and how to love their husbands and love their children and how to be discreet and keepers at home. And so you're going to see more videos on Christian homemaking and lessons learned, and hopefully it will bless you on your homemaking journey.